Welcome to Splunk Talk, the only podcast that's all Splunk and no junk. I am your host, Burch.
I'm Hal. Hey, Burch.
And we're here today, live broadcast from where?
We're in Vegas.
We're in Las Vegas?
Yeah,
that explains the heat.
Yeah, it's rather hot.
You know what else is hot? All the incredible announcements that just came out.
That's pretty good.
We are going to cover stuff that we heard last night at the keynote, stuff that we heard today at the keynote. We're going to talk for a bit. We're going to take a little break. We're going to have a special guest come and join us. So let's hop into it.
All right, awesome.
How has your conf been so far?
It's been great, but before we start, can we have just a moment of remembrance for Shelley Kornblum?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Former chief T-shirt officer.
Yes.
Great guy.
Yes. Strange guy.
Yeah, strange guy. I heard
Yes.
that there was a tragic accident with a T-shirt machine.
Oh yeah, it was horrifying.
Yeah, I don't have any details.
Comically horrifying.
Yeah, I don't have any details other than there was dye everywhere, into orifice. I'm not going to go into details, but that's what I heard. I mean, did you hear anything more?
I heard he went on a rocket ship out into outer space.
Okay.
And that's actually the extent of what I heard. But any rumor is a good rumor on this topic.
Okay, great.
And we should spread all of them.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, okay, the moment's over.
Okay, that was our moment.
Let's talk about the show.
Hal, I have one more moment.
Okay.
It was in 2019, just over there, that you and I decided to restart this podcast.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So we're back home in a way.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like coming back. You know, it repeats. It's a cycle, and
this is
a
our
great
Spider-Man homecoming.
Are we gonna do the thing where I point at you and you point at me? No, not that one. Not like the David.
We're both the guy in the chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should probably mute Slack because right now the cloud hecklers are heckling me, which is appropriate.
Well, while you do
that,
I'll start us off. Last night we had a keynote, and we had an incredible party over in the Source Pavilion. Got to experience a lot of really interesting and compelling stuff. Some of the things that I wanted to touch on, big announcement on my mind was Gary shared the partnership with Microsoft.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you, Hal?
Well, so we've been doing things with Microsoft in the space, generally speaking, the entire time because Microsoft's a big deal. All of our customers, majority of our customers have huge, presence with Microsoft. So in one way it wasn't new, but the new thing was the commitment. So, it's a strategic alliance, it's a bi-directional thing. So the announcement was, I forget the word exactly, but it was co-development was one of the words there. So it just showed that this is important not just to us, not just to our customers, but Microsoft as well. Yeah. So it's a recognition. It's pretty cool.
Now there was like the big partnership and being able to get Splunk on that marketplace, but there was a more subtle detail that really caught my eye, and that was the integration.
Yeah.
I forget the exact wording, but it was like integration with the Microsoft Office products, and I'm really intrigued in how that is going to pan out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any technical details, but I mean, we can imagine where what would make sense, right? It's in order to have digital resilience, you need to have the data in the platform. So, stronger ways to get data into the platform from the Azure suite and the Microsoft software. Maybe it's going to be working more closely with the Azure services, or running on top of Azure. So, a lot to do there. A lot of amazing things to look forward to.
There was another announcement that was really...
Probably look at the camera now and then.
Oh, I just want to look at you and fall deeply into your eyes.
All right.
See, Hal and I are used to doing this remotely, so it's always special when we do this in person.
Because normally we're like, we're at Zoom, we're looking at the screen, right?
Yeah.
At the other guy. Anyway,
I noticed there was a little device on stage that collected a lot of data.
The hub.
Not to be confused with Edge Processor, which was just announced a few moments ago.
Right.
So let's talk about both. Let's start with Edge Hub.
We're doing stuff at the edge. We're helping people do more things at the edge.
That is one of those terms that it started getting used, but no one ever defined it. Is it correct to say that when we talk about pushing things to the edge, we're talking about where the data is actually generated?
Yeah.
So rather than centralizing it and doing all the computation there, we're actually able to do things more where it's generated.
Yeah, pushing out further some of these capabilities, some of the analytics, some of the decision making. Obviously, better breadth when it comes to getting the data.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, it means not just the data center, expanding out, into, I mean, if you're like a retailer, you've got a whole bunch of locations, that's the edge. If you are, a manufacturer and you've got a bunch of physical plants, that's the edge. So, just
if you're
not just the data
Bono,
center.
you're a guitarist, that's the edge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, not one of my favorite bassists, but he's a bassist.
Bassist? Oh, okay. Well, the basis of my question is this is now, like, it's an edge hub. So it is something that not only can detect data on its own, but you can plug things into it. You can plug sensors into it as well.
Yes.
So it's pretty extensible.
Yeah, it's a physical piece of hardware. It's a box, right? It's about yay big, smaller than a paperback book, sort of, kind of, but thicker. And low power device. It's got sensors in it. It can connect to sensors outside of it. A lot of specific protocols, that matter for manufacturing and other outside the box. Outside the server rack use cases, I guess, would be a good way to put that.
Yeah.
Like Modbus and MQTT and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So, newer, better ways to get more data.
So, okay, so
that's Edge Hub. Yes.
Okay,
Edge
so Edge processor.
Different, but it is similar in the sense that we're doing more at the edge, doing more at the client, or between the client and your Splunk environment. So Edge processor enables you to do routing, filtering, masking, getting data, and doing things to it in the stream before you're sending it up to Splunk. Or
so you could, like,
to S3, you could also send the data.
Like, sensitive information from the data before it ever makes it to
definitely
Splunk.
Do that.
Could you, like, let's say we all have those situations of, like, I have high volume, low value data.
Yes.
And historically we might have, like, brought that into Splunk and then done, like, summary indexing.
Search time stuff,
so So does this allow you to summarize that?
There's things you can do now, and then there's things that are coming that'll be enhancements in the language. So let's talk about the language for a second. It's SPL2, number 2.
Oh, this uses SPL2.
It does. So this Edge processor is going to be the first of many over time where we'll see SPL2 kind of be the language. So it's anything you can do in SPL, you can do in SPL2. You can literally have it run in the same runtime. So we're not going to, like, break existing stuff. That's cool. But that's when you're talking about searching. But when you're talking about Edge processor, you're writing the pipeline in SPL2. And there's things that you can do that are very similar. But also you have a new syntax. So if you know SQL, you can do SQL. Like select from, order by, those kinds of paradigms. You can do that additional, kind of identical syntax.
And we actually just published an episode last week or the week before with an interview all about SPL2.
I mean, people should go to the Splunk Talk channel on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts, Look for Splunk Talk, one word, that's us.
Yeah. Anything stand out to you at the keynotes or the event so far?
Well, I mean, we had one last night, we had one today, and then one today was about the products. That was Tom Casey. And Min, we got to meet Min, our new CTO.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm excited. We have a new CTO. So first of all, like, that's a big change.
That is a change.
Setting the direction, long-term stuff.
Yeah. And she talked to us about AI.
Yes, that was about AI. What was the most notable thing about AI? I mean, the principles are good. So thinking about, because, I've noticed, I don't know if you noticed, but people have strong feelings about artificial intelligence. Have you noticed this?
I have noticed this.
Okay. I'm not sure where this came from.
Yeah. I believe it came from the Terminator.
Okay, it might have come from the Terminator. I mean, that's a plausible theory.
Yes.
I mean, I like your hypothesis where you're going there.
Yeah.
Are there other examples that come to mind when you think AI?
I believe Your Name is one of them in a space-based movie.
Oh yeah, no, I have not heard that one before.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, no, like HAL 9000, like one better than IBM.
Yes.
Yeah. So true story. I worked at IBM. I tried to get the email address hal@ibm.com and they would not give it to me.
Oh.
But I did get hal@us.ibm.com. That's as close as I got.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I did have hal@hp.com. That was actually the shortest email address that I ever had.
That's pretty short. Okay, so
so people have sensitivities to this topic. Humans, I think humans generally. That's probably a good way to categorize the people that have sensitivities to this. So, it's we could talk about it though. I mean, it's like, are we going to replace ourselves with the technology overnight?
Oh no, I see this totally differently.
I think so.
Like there are
I feel like we have some control
definitely
over this.
Generative AI things that are
totally going to replace us personally.
They're going to commoditize certain things, but in the Splunk sphere,
I'm not very serious all this. Yeah.
What I see this as is this brings us further towards democratizing the value of the platform. Because if you think about it, like historically with software like this, an executive or non-technical user would normally be more of a consumer. Yep. They may not be creating, but consuming. So they're not necessarily creating new searches because there is, a little bit of
They'd have to learn SQL, for example.
Right, and so they may delegate that to someone else. But to be able to trivially speak or type in a conversational way a question to get an answer really democratizes the value of the investment they've already made. So I think that's pretty.
That goes back to our old vision and mission.
Making machine data usable, accessible, and valuable to everyone.
To whom?
To everyone.
Everyone, yes.
Everyone.
There we go.
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
Getting there. Yeah, I thought that was pretty intriguing.
Yeah. She did a mock-up of kind of like, what would the vision, how would that work out? And it was pretty compelling. And it was, if you look at the, I think it was a land speed violation, a notable event, which is not new. So it was full of things that were not new.
Yeah.
Putting them together more quickly for more people.
Right. I always feel like that's a great way to demonstrate something too. It's take things you already know, so that you can really focus on the novel part.
If you're a security person, you know that if somebody logs in from here and somebody logs in from here, within a short amount of time frame, it's not possible for them to be in those two places. Then that's questionable.
Yeah.
So that was the emphasis of like, okay, well, let's allow more people to do that thing, to figure out what to do, and I don't know, disable the account. That seems like a good thing to do.
Well, and that was almost like a theme through the whole keynote, was like what you mentioned, disable the account, was that the unification. I'll use the terms that are being used. The unification of these products. And I've always been a huge fan of the premise that like all the different lenses you can get on the same data. So be it IT or security in this context, I'm getting both of that information from the same data. And now we're taking that a step further. You're seeing things like mission control providing more unification of, hey, I found the land speed violation. So we go, I think the demo might have been, here's AI, here's, you're seeing an ES type notable, and here do a playbook that's like a SOAR type thing. So bringing it all together. And again, going back to what I just said, like that's like democratizing the value.
Did you just reference yourself?
I just referenced myself.
Okay, it was a callback.
I inflated my ego.
90
seconds ago.
Yes.
So we saw that with mission control, and I think we started to see some of that on the observability side too.
A couple other announcements too. I want to make sure that we
have up here on our.
We talked about the Microsoft
our devices, our notes.
We talked about the Edge Hub.
Yeah.
And did we talk about federated search for?
I was about to ask about that one.
Okay.
So let me see if I got this right.
All right.
I have massive pools of data.
If you didn't get this right,
I'll be punished.
Meetings afterwards. Yes.
There will be patty whacks.
Yes. Luis is going to have words with you.
Okay. So I have massive. This is again high volume, low value data. Maybe I don't want to send it into Splunk. I want to store it in something like an S3.
Okay. Yes.
And now federated search is this. I guess take a step
back. It's like
an
umbrella, right?
An umbrella term for the ability to search data wherever. Yeah. Right, so I want to search my own managed environment, but I'm in cloud, or I want to search multiple cloud environments, or whatever permutation.
Environments. I mean, there's part of this that is new. Going back to the things that tying to distributed, right? We've been a distributed system since Splunk 5.
I think 1982.
Yeah, 1982. Since 1982, we've been a distributed environment, and then federated search came on to sort of. Layer in, so allow we've got multiple features we're adding on top of this thing. So you have federated search for this. Now for S3, it's like okay, I've got data that I didn't need to keep in my I didn't need to spend the effort and expense on indexing it.
Right.
But I did want to retain it just in case.
So this would be like compliance data, right?
It could be compliance. It could be advanced threat detection, and we're hunting for something, and we need evidence that goes back for 90 days plus. who knows, 3 years. Well,
Right.
compliance, yeah, it's usually like 3, 5 years, whatever.
Yeah.
So being able to search that data where it sits.
And not having to wait for it to come into, not having to.
Right, I mean, yeah, because we've been providing pieces of this along the way, like dynamic data, and I'm gonna forget this one. We've got active archive, we've got self-storage, we've got another one. So those we're giving you features that help you move the data, help it keep it online search, but it's going to be slow. So it's like different variants on the theme of greater access to data.
I think it's active searchable,
Yes.
active archive,
ASAA.
and
SS.
what?
DDSS.
SS, simple.
Or SSDD.
R2, D2.
Okay.
So
anyway.
how about that Open Telemetry Collector TA?
So do you know what OpenTelemetry is? Do they know what OpenTelemetry is?
There are people here?
Well, I mean, there's people, I see a few people outside, I see a few camera operators. So yeah, OpenTelemetry, I mean, it's like an open source project. It's something that came out of the, we had Arjit on the stage talking about the journey of Signal FX when he was there, working on that and founding that. This is like that, this is where we are now. OpenTelemetry is kind of like the things that everything is being built on, all the technologies on our observability platform.
And so this is a way to send data in, but it can also collect.
It does more than just the logs that we've known and been working with customers on for 20 years. By the way, it's been 20 years. Did you get that memo?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Wait, no, that's, anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but metrics and traces and these things that observability teams care about in addition to just the logs.
Yeah.
So SignalFX is great at kind of integrating in with the code so that when it's time to figure out what went wrong, you can point to it, exactly. It was that function call, and that function call is slow, that started at this check-in, and we know that check-in happened at such and such time, and oh hey, why don't we roll that back? So that's the the SRE life.
So the Open Telemetry Collector, or OTEL Collector, abbreviated, let me get this straight. This is outside of Splunk. This is like its own, it's like the second.
You might have grown up with Splunk D and the platform and the universal and the heavies and the lightweight forwarders there for a minute.
But just in terms of this is not that, and this is beyond Splunk. This I think is the second most active open source project in existence.
In existence?
Yeah, after
I know it's super big on the
Kubernetes.
CNCF.
Okay.
That's awesome.
But people who might be really very much Splunk admins might not appreciate that.
It might be a world that they just don't appreciate because they weren't aware.
And it had to snap for me this okay, so this is happening with or without
it's a really
Splunk.
big deal outside of Splunk as well. Yeah.
And so Splunk is embracing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're the largest contributor and the co-founder of the project. So
yeah,
we are definitely embracing that and pushing it forward. And the announcement was of the TA, well, the two announcements, if I recall.
Yeah.
There was a TA, so a TA for technology add-on for Splunk Enterprise to help you deploy OTEL out to your agents.
So if you already have deployment servers set up and all you can start pushing this out.
So it's a good bridge to things you're already doing. That's cool. And then the other one was what? They had two announcements. One was a TA, the other one was zero configuration.
Config.
And I believe it was for a couple of different language runtimes.
Yeah. So it auto-detect what's there and instrument the collection of that data.
Yeah.
That sounds like magic and wizardry.
I think it is actually magic and wizardry.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of other stuff they talked about, RUM and the threat intelligence platforms and
But sometimes things seem too good to be true.
Okay.
And here's another detail of this that seems too good to be true, which is that the OTEL collector it's not Splunk specific. So this is a collector that anyone can go and grab from the public and use and send the data wherever they want. It doesn't have to go to Splunk. So if someone is, every now and then you come across people who are like, oh, we don't want to be, integrated with any company's proprietary agent.
Okay, sure.
This could be a really compelling option because it is an open source project and it can send to Splunk or it can send to, S3 and do a federated search or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So it gives a lot more flexibility and that is cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I called out a couple of people.
Call them out?
Okay.
You're going to do shout outs, as the kids say?
I did want to shout out to Nick Wheeler, Ted Hellman. Who else? We've got a lot of cloud hecklers out there that are they're excited and passionate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what are our company values?
Our company values?
Yeah.
Passionate, innovative, disruptive, open, and fun.
Yeah, that's what they are.
They are.
So appreciate them.
Yes. In fact, at least one of those names was just made an honorary Splunk Trust member, Ted.
Oh, that's awesome.
So last night, as part of the soiree in the pavilion, we got to see this year's Splunk Trust inductees. And so a lot of really great people are returning for this year as Splunk Trust members.
I forget the numbers, though. I want to say
a couple,
like 71 in total, something like that.
Wow.
With 27 new. I'm just roughly guessing what Jason had relayed to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, super appreciate the Splunk trustees.
Yes.
The Fez, that's where the Fez comes from.
That's where the Fez comes from.
So what's next?
Well, in a bit, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to have a special guest come out and talk with us about some emerging technologies. And then later on, after that, we have, you and I are doing another broadcast on Thursday to close this out.
But at the show floor, what are people that are here now, what are they doing?
Oh, I thought you meant just about me. What's going on with me?
Well, I mean, what are you going to have for lunch?
Yes.
You want to go out for lunch later?
Oh, we'll get some lunch.
Okay, we can do that. No, I mean, we're at Conf.
We're at Conf.
There's a lot of fun activities here. We're going to be, partaking in them, but some of them we were going to push them out to everyone at home.
Yes.
There's stages and marketing's got a plan.
But some of them we won't.
Some of them we won't. Like what? Oh, workshops.
Workshops, and that's a new thing this year. So a lot
you gotta show
not hands-on labs, but 90-minute workshops where it's like a session and hands-on melded into one.
Yeah, no, I love that. Well, we do workshops in the field though.
Yes.
So we can take some of these things to customers directly. So I would say, ask your sales engineer for a workshop. That's not going to go over well. They're gonna blame you for that later.
Yes.
Yeah.
They will shake fists at you.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But I giveth and taketh away.
And taketh away. Are there any particular talks that you're excited or looking forward to or want to highlight that people check out if anyone's on site or if they want to catch this later and catch the recordings?
Edge processor. I've just been spending so much time with the teams building that. Super proud of what they've done. Faya was on stage earlier highlighting some of those innovations, but from Yogesh and Abbas and dozens of people in engineering and marketing that are so involved with this, and I don't want to start naming names because then I'll miss one, it'll be like crap. But, so I'm not going to try any more of that, but super appreciate everything they've done. Edge processor, the federated search stuff, so I'm really excited to see how that's going to pan out and help customers do kind of new things that they've not really, it didn't make sense before. So yeah, those are some of the ones I'm looking at. What about you?
I'm also interested in stuff around observability.
And you finish your, I got another one.
And the cloud monitoring console, because as a former admin, I lived in the monitoring console and being able to understand what's healthy, whose searches are maybe being skipped, and I want to partner with them to help make some improvements, that type of stuff. So I want to see the newness coming out in the CMC.
Yeah.
What do you got in your mind?
Okay, I got two other things. The developer experience is something that I'm seeing come out in different ways from different areas of our product portfolio. The one that I'm most excited about right now is the ability to take what you can do in Splunk and put it elsewhere. So in VS Code. There's been an extension for VS Code in the VS Code marketplace for some time. And a buddy of mine, Jason Conger, built that, and it's great. Now, we're going to show a preview. There's a beta program for this that customers can join later to experience SPL2 searching against your data inside of VS Code in a notebook interface, no less. So actually kind of getting inspired by Jupyter notebooks. It's really cool.
Oh, so that means like
the
people that have like their notebooks with like, oh, I have like a text file where I have like notes on what I was investigating.
You've got markdown
and
notes,
then search snippets
nicely formatted,
and
then the code blocks in between it. So it's like a block interface, so markdown code, and that code is SPL2.
And is it so?
And
it's just code
results
printed there?
show in line, so you get a nice fancy table or.
It will run the search directly in the notebook.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is
pretty
cool.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's repo on GitHub right now. I think it released like today type of thing. So there's workshops that'll be helping people to do that, but you'll be able to take that and play with it. Like
that's cool.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. There was a second one. That's one.
The
second one, I don't remember what it was.
You don't remember what it was?
No, I put up 2 fingers and hoping that I would remember what it was later, but it didn't work.
Okay.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
So on the oh, by the way, ingest actions.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
Would you describe ingest actions, please?
Sure. Okay.
Since you're familiar with it.
So if you understand Splunk Enterprise or Enterprise Cloud, you'll know that there's an indexing pipeline, okay?
Yes.
And the data goes through the pipeline, and there's multiple stages, and I'm going to mix them up. We've got regex and typing and parsing. There's a handful of them there. Ingest actions sits in there, okay? And it's giving you easier access to do things in there. Plus, there's an additional pipeline that they added for routing. So basically, if you wanted to do something with additional, like masking, okay?
Yeah.
And we talked about PII masking before. In order to do something at index time, that's pretty highly sensitive. Like, you have to be very careful in how you deploy that, and there's a lot of we're making that easier.
Oh.
So you have the ability to, there's also some additional capabilities that you can do this on data that's already been cooked, which was very difficult and had a lot of caveats before, so we're making it a little bit easier to work with that data, even if it was on a heavy forwarder and it's already been processed. So you can open that back up, modify that data, so at index time or right before index time, and there's also a routing pipeline, so you can route that data out to S3 as well. So
a lot more flexibility in terms of how you, like the data that you bring in and sensitivity around. It's kind of like what we were talking about with Edge Processor. Huh?
Yeah. And there's a user interface for this.
Oh.
And it's something you would do either at an intermediate forwarder or on your indexers in Splunk Enterprise or Cloud.
Very cool. Okay, so hopping back to, look, we're on site.
Come see me at the booth in,
And this is like the first of our kind of classic confs in a while, right? Because we had a lot of virtual ones, we had some hybrid ones. So this one is, the spirit is here. And one of the things that I forgot that's so great about being here on site is not just the conversation and collaboration you have with all these people, the booths and going to all the different booths. And the booze.
Okay, booths and booze.
But even like the user research. So, I see people handing out, do this QR code, you can do like a user research study.
Sure.
Where you as a user get to play with, different product things that may or may not be released yet. And give feedback on it. And that was stuff that is possible, but it's very different, having that physical, like there doing that research with
that
person.
It's like, it's extending the reach of our engineering and product organization out, right?
Yeah.
So, how can we hear from you better? So we're trying to scale that up. Those are opportunities that are hard to come by.
Yeah.
And we do want to hear from you, so.
Very cool.
Not you, them.
Yeah, oh yeah, them.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of wrapping up, we've got some great talks going on here. Some of the breakout sessions are going to be made available online in some time after Conf.
Yes.
But the workshops, the
sometime between 3 and 72 days.
72 days. Okay. There are a lot of really great things happening on site that will not be available after. Some really great experiences and conversations as well.
But the breakout sessions, the workshops, we're going to get those out some way or another. So anything that you find interesting, anything you see on the Conf schedule, challenge us, ask us, give us feedback, tell us what you want.
What you really, really want.
What you really, really want. Why didn't some not? I don't know. Maybe it was the motion. I was thinking, shake it off, but that wasn't.
No, it's not. That was a Spice Girls reference, not Taylor Swift.
No, I know that.
Oh, okay.
Duh.
Duh. Okay. We've got
in terms of wrapping up.
Yes. We've got broadcasts that continue here on conf.splunk.com. We've got another session after a brief break here.
Go hang out with the big data beard as well.
Yes. We're going to have a special guest join us in a few minutes. So stay tuned and enjoy Conf.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we say cut, or do they say cut?